Well, hello, it's been months, many months in fact, since the last time I came out and did anything really to the onion. I guess probably because we had a baby about 7 months ago, and so my time has been all consumed with that. I hadn't really slept for the first 6 months of that, and so finally I managed to come out here and spend a bit of time down the garage. Now, what have I been up to? The cam cover, I sent that away and got it blasted, and subsequently decided I was going to, because it wasn't perfect, it's magnesium, the cam cover on the ST170 engine, decided that I was going to just paint it with crinkle paint, which is pretty common. It generally does a pretty good job, but it wouldn't go on consistently. So I followed all the steps, cleaned everything down. It was, as I say, it was blasted, it was degreased, treated it with an ISO wipe, so it was really clean when I painted it, and just couldn't get a consistent finish at all. Not in terms of it crinkling, I was quite happy with that, but in terms of the actual overall paint finish. So in some areas it was lighter than others, it was patchy. So now I'm sanding it down, because once that's done, then I can sort the, well, I need to start stripping the engine bay out really, so I can get the old engine out, get the flywheel off, replace the oil seals and such on my new engine, and start thinking about getting that back inside the car. Unfortunately, I'm going to miss 40 years of the Ford Orion this year, which is a real shame, because I'd like to have got the car to that, but life just gets in the way, doesn't it? So I've started basically scotching this down, and you can see what I mean about the inconsistency. I mean, this, I really have no idea what's happened there, but just, yeah, not very good. This bit here went on way too thick, and it did crinkle, and it's just ruined it. So yeah, it needs to be completely and utterly sanded. I'm hoping that once I've managed to get this keyed up, I'll be able to spray it with the same silver paint that I've used on the rest of the engine, which frankly came out pretty well everywhere else. So yeah, we'll see what this comes up like after a bit of work. But I was quite keen on the grey, thought it looked a bit different, but there we are. So this is where I'm at. It is, as I said before, pretty heavily pitted in places, but we're going to give it a splash of colour, see how it comes out. Much rubbing down, some really big imperfections taken out, but we'll see how it comes out. If it's looks okay, then great. If we can still see some of the finish from underneath, or if the paint reacts, then a bit of nitro remorse, I guess, and we'll start from the beginning all over again. Okay, so initial thoughts are, yeah, it looks terrible. So there we are. Nitro remorse, I guess, and we'll move from there. But yeah, nothing worse is there than wasting an evening doing something. But hey, guess if you don't try, you won't know. Under the bonnet, we've already partially stripped bits, and seeing as I've had a rubbish night in terms of painting the other cam cover, I figured it's probably time to do something else. So I'm going to drop the coolant, take the coolant hoses off, and I'm one step closer at least to being able to strip this engine out. But it's not much, but it'll be something at least. So it turns out getting the tray underneath has been a bit of a pain because the car's so low, but there is at least a useful bleed screw which I've just started to undo at the bottom of the radiator. So look at that. Drips into the anti-roll bar, hole in the anti-roll bar, straight into the back. What is interesting is this appears to be yellow, or sort of greeny yellow colour, I guess. Let's go with green. It's pink over there. What manner of thing has happened that that's suddenly a completely different colour? Interesting. You can see, incidentally, it's a bit dirty in there, but otherwise, fundamentally okay. So, hopefully, when it's all cleaned and painted up, it'll look smart again. Just pulled off the hose of the thermostat, and suddenly, here we go. I imagine this will be quite rusty, to be honest. Got a new radiator to go in. This one seems to have got a hole in it somewhere because it leaks coolant all over my garage floor, which is really nice. Here's the tank on the other side. There was a new one a little while back. I say a little while back, probably 10 years ago now. Pretty much impossible to get hold of unless you want to pay an absolute fortune. I remember thinking it was expensive, about 70 quid before, and now people are asking hundreds for them. Madness. Here we go. Okay, so I'll pop the header tank out. and it seems that it's been flapping against the bodywork and caused that. Thankfully it appears to only be surface, so at least it's nice and easy to fix. Whilst I'm here, and you might think I'm really sad for doing this, I tend to keep the original Jubilee clips, and the reason why is because they're stamped with the Ford logo and the new ones aren't. So if you buy a replacement, they don't come through like that. Geeky, I know, but I tend to keep them anyway. Whilst I'm here, I've just popped the battery onto maintenance charge. It's always plugged in actually, and whipped it out so I can start unbolting other bits and pieces. The battery tray on Ford's generally terrible. This is the original one. Still amazingly good, I would say. Okay, so it's the end of a night tinkering. I've unplumbed everything, drained the coolant down, so that it is now empty. You can see the header tank set up there just to try and keep it out of the way of any kind of harm, because knowing my luck I'll probably stand on it or something. What's next then? Well, I've unplugged the alternator. I need to get that out because there is a quite hard to see down there, a heat shield and a bracket which I need, I realised, for the other engine. So I'm going to take that off next, I think, and then I'm going to start taking the wiring out. Now, the reason why I haven't just charged ahead and done that is because I don't know whether I'm going to need certain bits of it. So I figured what I'll probably do is come down here and label everything up as I go. So I might have a vague hope of getting it all back together in some sort of sensible order. Otherwise, I've got various bits of plumbing on the floor now. I need to sort these out once they're all completely dry. When I did this conversion, there wasn't really a neat way of putting the pipework together. You may remember that I've got a custom piece of pipework which is going to effectively replace this. This is for the silver top, so slightly different to the setup I've got on the ST170 or black top. But you had to get a reducer to fit, and then something in the centre there, and it was all really messy and just used to push up against the alternator. So I'm very pleased to get rid of that. I'm also pleased to get rid of that horrible banana, as they call it, K&N rubber banana. Be very pleased to get rid of that. I need to also get the exhaust off so I can see how that marries up to the new engine. To do that, I need to basically, well, I don't know. I also need to get the red cowling off and the rad out, but again, problem, because you can see how unbelievably tight it is down here, and also maybe just about be able to see how unbelievably tight everything is to the starter motor. I actually ended up spacing this out on this engine by about 10 mil just to give it a little bit of extra clearance. There wasn't the same off-the-peg solutions back then as there are now. So yeah, that's got to be done. Breather system's going to come out. That's quite straightforward. And really just start stripping it down into a position where I can take the engine out and then start tending to the engine bay itself. As you can probably tell, I'm relatively knackered. I'm hoping to be able to get back out here again, maybe next week, maybe this week. We'll see. I guess it probably depends just quite how tired I am and what time everything's done indoors once the kids are in bed. But it'd be nice to try and get this thing into a position where I can get this engine out and move on. Do keep an eye on the channel. Please subscribe and you'll see whenever we drop a video. And yeah, we look forward to checking in soon.